As many of you know, I did a review on the Grantstone diesel boots a few months ago. Turns out, Grantstone saw the video and I guess they liked it, well, because they said they liked it. And then they offered to send me a pair of boots to talk about on the channel. I ended up picking another one of their best-selling boots, the brass boot. I have to admit, it's pretty cool when companies start sending you all of this cool stuff to talk about and review. Definitely one of the perks of having a channel. However, I also have a duty to my viewers to be truthful no matter what. I know eventually a company is gonna send me a pair of boots or a jacket or a lighter or a watch or something, and I'm just gonna hate it or it's gonna have some major flaw. I promise all of you that when that day comes, I will be ruthless. Luckily though, that day is not today because these boots from Grantstone are pretty awesome. Grantstone is a relatively young company that was founded in 2016. Up until the release of the brass boot, they mostly made boots for that smart casual everyday look, best exemplified by the diesel boot. I have a pair of diesel boots and they're pretty good boots. I guess the best way to classify the brass boot is as a work boot style / winter boot. This is Grantstone's more refined take on the rugged work boot. It has some of the capability of a work boot, but if you were to wear these boots for any kind of real work, I think you would eventually end up ruining a pair of beautifully constructed boots. Grantstone basically wanted to make a boot that you could comfortably wear in a snowstorm. Anyway, the detail that I found myself immediately attracted to with these boots was the hand-stitched mock toe. I admired the choice of color for the thread used on the mock toe. I just thought it was a beautiful contrast. And I really liked that it matched the welt as well. It really draws the eye to the mock toe and showcases a silhouette. Speaking of stitching, I think it's worth mentioning how precise the stitching of these boots are. Not one loose thread. It just goes to show you how much attention to detail goes into their construction. This is my second pair of Grantstone boots, and just like the first pair, I was impressed with the hardware. It's brass, it's sturdy, and it's pretty good looking in my opinion. Just like the first pair, the brass boots feature speed hooks. Only a set of 2, not the set of 3 that came with my diesel boots. Regardless, they're still very easy to get on and off, and I have no complaints. Now, these boots are on the Floyd last, which is a fairly high volume last, so higher sidewalls and a taller toe box. You're still getting the roominess in the toe box that you normally would with a mock toe, but because of the way the boot is constructed, it doesn't add too much bulk to the silhouette, which I really appreciate. It kind of differentiates it from something, say, like a Red Wing Iron Ranger, but it makes the brass boot look overall just a little more polished. Moving on to a bit about the leather. The brass boots are a chromoexcel aniline pull-up leather tanned by Horween in the color crimson, which is this deep brown color. My first impression of these boots was that they didn't have any red tone to them at all. However, once I got them out in the sunlight, I could see the reddish undertones, and it's fantastic. I think I'm gonna be wearing these boots a lot this fall because they're just beautiful and very solid. chromoexcel is actually one of my favorite leathers. It's my go-to when I'm shopping for boots because it's brilliant yet not too glossy, and it's malleable but still a very durable leather, and it's also the easiest leather to maintain. With all that said, these boots are priced just under $400, and there are some companies that will charge you $100 to $200 more for boots made of the same Horween chromoexcel. I know that some of you might be a little lukewarm about the whole made in China thing, but it's more like handcrafted in China, and the craftsmanship is excellent at this price point. As for the inside of the boots, the leather lining is a full-grain vegetable tan leather lining with a veg tan insole, midsole, and welt. Now the midsole does have some cork in it, but not nearly as much as other brands. You would think that because of that, they aren't so great for shock absorption, but that hasn't been my experience so far. The boots do feature a steel shank, which not only offers arch support, but contributes to shock absorption as well. Personally, I find the boots to be very comfortable, and although I wouldn't say they're hiking boots per se, I would say that they're perfectly appropriate for all-day wear on different terrains and in a variety of weather conditions. The brass boots feature a 360-degree welt, so they offer a fair amount of water resistance. They also feature a full leather heel counter, which is a huge plus for me because I have the type of heels that always seem to be rubbing in boots and shoes. For those of you who don't know, a heel counter is used to stabilize and tighten the back of the boots. This prevents rubbing, therefore reduces blistering, and makes for an easy break-in period. Personally, this is a feature I really appreciate. Oftentimes when I buy a new pair of boots, I have to wear extra thick socks at first in order to prevent blistering. With the brass boots, that was not a concern, and they broke in super easily. I did notice that between the thickness of the leather and the rubber lug sole, these boots do have some weight to them. A little bit more than I was expecting, but the heaviness hasn't affected the comfort or my gait. I can wear these boots all day, from day one without any concerns. And that is a first for me, so well done, Grantstone. Speaking of the sole, the rubber lug sole has a recessed quality to it. I'm not sure if I would call this a mini lug or not because though they are recessed, they seem to be quite substantial to me. I really like recessed lug soles. They tend to make the boot look less like a combat boot and a little more low profile, but they still offer the same amount of traction and durability as a classic lug sole. At this point in time, I've only had the opportunity to wear these boots in the rain, and as far as traction goes in the rain, they're great. I think these will be a fantastic option when winter rolls around, but they're so attractive I'm loath to wear them in bad conditions because I want to keep them nice for as long as humanly possible. Now, I can't speak with any authority to the durability of the brass boots because I haven't had them for that long at all. What I can say is they seem incredibly solid with construction that reminds me of boots that are a couple to several $100s more. There seems to be absolutely no indication of loose grain, the stitching is superb, and I anticipate that these boots will last me an incredibly long time, and I'm looking forward to every minute of it. As far as fit and size go, I got my brass boots in a size 7 D width, which is the same size I've gotten in all of my boots that I've owned so far, and for me at least, they're true to size. The fit in the heel is perfect, and even though it's a mock toe and there's plenty of room in the toe box, it doesn't look nearly as bulky as some of the other mock toes I have seen. Like I said earlier, I promise I will always tell you guys the truth, even if that means I'm burning my relationship with the company to the ground in doing so. But these boots are great. They're the best pair of boots I have owned and the best pair of boots I have seen so far. Now, I haven't seen in person the offerings from much more expensive brands like NYX, White's, Viberg, Truman, so I can't say that these boots are on the same level as those esteemed companies which sell for so much more. I can say that I prefer the design and quality of these boots over everything I've seen from Thursday Boots, Allen Edmonds, and I think that these boots may just be an outright better boot than the Alden Indy 403s. I'm still somewhat new to the space, but for the price, I haven't seen anything I like as much as the brass boot from Grant Stone. Nick from Stridewise calls these the best mock toe boots, period. And I think he might be right.